Hi everybody and welcome along to the full-time fan reaction show. My name's Laurie. I'm here with my boy Frank. We've just witnessed Arsenal lose late in Portugal, losing 1-0 to Porto. What can I say? Very disappointing night. Right from the off, we weren't at it. I think we got mugged off by a large degree tonight. Porto, as much as I don't want to condone it, they got their tactics right. We didn't get ours right. I can't remember watching the last Arsenal game where we didn't register a single shot on target. And I'm also struggling to find many Arsenal players that can say that they've had a decent game tonight. Frank, over to you. What was your thoughts?
I'm still struggling. I'm struggling to quite come to terms with the fact that we lost this game. Not to take any credit away from Porto, of course. Like you said, the brand of football they played today wasn't pretty.
No.
But it works, and when something works, there's no reason to not play that way.
Yeah,
They've got the result.
I spoke before the game when my boy Turkish here was saying, yeah, we can get it done in the first leg, and I said, listen, man, Champions League football is quite nuanced.
Absolutely,
it's very tactical. Teams are not going to let you just play around them like that, and we saw that with Porto. Even though they were the home team, they were quite happy to let us have the ball.
Yeah,
they played a counter-attacking game. They nullified or attempted to nullify our strengths, which they did, to be fair, to a large degree. They were also very good at the dark arts, falling on the floor, playing for time, being disruptive. And it worked. I've got to say, like I said, I'm not condoning that type of football. I certainly want to see Arsenal play like that. But to give them their credit, if that's what you want to give them, they got it spot on and they emerged with a win. And what I would say as well is that that type of football is not easy to play against, and they will come to the Emirates in a few weeks' time and do exactly that same thing again.
Absolutely, but the thing is, you say that, but the thing is, like, despite how bad we played today, I've still got confidence in this Arsenal team that we'll be able to pull it back in the second.
Yeah, I think.
Look, the way I looked at it is, obviously, I wasn't one of those guys that were overconfident about the fact that we was going to come here and win 3 or 4-0. I would have quite happily taken a 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Yeah, me too.
We got into the game. You could see by the end of the first half, it wasn't looking pretty. And I even
we should have been a goal
absolutely.
Down
we should have been a goal down, and it wasn't looking pretty. And I even said going into the second half, in hindsight, a 0-0 wouldn't even be that bad. But what's happened now is we're going into the second leg 1-0 down, and I've still got all the confidence in the world that this Arsenal team can pull this around. But what we've done is we've made it a lot harder than it needed to be.
Absolutely.
Because even if we go into that second leg 0-0, the game's still in our hands. But right now we've got to bring this back to the Emirates, pull back that goal, and then let loose on Porto. So I've still got confidence that we'll do it. It's just a harder task than it need to be. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you remember, Frank, because you were in the room with a couple of minutes left to go, I was saying, look, man, let's just take the 0-0 because I could see it wasn't going to be our night. I mean, like I said, how often do you watch Arsenal or an Arsenal team not register a single shot on target?
Well, it's been over 2 years.
It just had that look about it that you just need to just take what you can get out of town and think, yeah, man, take them back to the Emirates and finish the job off there. As you've said quite rightly, the whole job now becomes a whole lot more difficult because they've got something now in which to sit on, and they will do exactly the same thing at the Emirates, make no mistake. They will not come out and play.
Yeah.
They will give us a ball and say, right, it's up to you to break us down. We've got to score twice to beat them.
And the thing is, it's very important, obviously, even looking to before that game. We've got 3 games in the Premier League. We play Newcastle on Saturday, then we've got Sheffield and Brentford. I think what we need to see now from Arsenal is quite a dramatic response. I think we need to go look at those 3 games and thinking, after such a disappointing result in the Champions League, we need to be going out and absolutely battering these teams. Maybe not so much Newcastle. I know it's not the same Newcastle that beat us in St James's Park, of course, but still a convincing win against a Newcastle side. And then the likes of Sheffield and Brentford, who are both flirting with relegation, we've got to be winning those games comfortably, especially going into such an important game in the second leg.
I've got to ask you, you play a lot of football.
Yep.
You're a very good goalkeeper.
I know where this is going.
At the time, when I saw the shot and it go in, I thought to myself, could Raya have done better there? Now, listen, I'm not attempting to blame Raya for the defeat. I don't want to make that clear.
Yeah.
but it's just an observation that I had at the time, and I wanted to ask Frank because I know that Frank, in his spare time, is a very good goalkeeper. He knows his football, so I'm asking you straight up, bro. Given your wealth of goalkeeping experience and knowledge, do you agree with me that he could have done better, or have I got that wrong?
It's a hard one, right? Because obviously I've got the benefit of looking at it from a goalkeeper's perspective. It's a bit weird because it's a yes and a no. Right. Because
Explain to the people.
Right. So regardless, I don't think we can take anything away from the quality of the goal. It's a fantastic finish from Galeno. So hats off to him. To put that, to miss such a big chance in the game and then come back and obviously win it at the death like that is fantastic from him. We've got to give him all the credit in the world for that. Yes, in the fact that he could have, I think he jumps a little bit early.
That's what I thought.
I think he dives a little bit too early, and obviously that doesn't help him in terms of getting his hand onto the ball in the way that he needs to get his hand on the ball.
He kind of had his trailing arm.
Yeah, so he had his trailing arm up, and obviously I think you need to, the trailing, you can get it higher obviously, but I think it comes from a situation where, he didn't really have anything to do in the game. No. And obviously where that comes out of nowhere, you're not really prepared for it. And yes, he probably should have been, but when you've not had a single shot faced on target, I think they won on target all game, and it was quite a comfortable save.
But I do want to reiterate that I'm not blaming him.
No, neither am I.
It was a good shot. Yeah. And like I said, the whole team did. I'm struggling, with the exception of maybe Gabriel.
Ben White for me done quite well as well.
Those two, with the exception of those two, I think the whole team struggled to perform today. But anyway, enough from myself and Frank. Let's hear what some of the callers have got to say. First up, we got Mams today, and I know Mams.
Hi guys.
He's always got Mams? A lot to say, and he's got that look on his face where he looks like he's about to unload. So, Mams, what's your?
Yeah, no, listen, I actually decided not to be angry about this, to be honest. Look, we all know we're not going to win every game. We're not going to win every game 5-0, 6-0. We are an emotional team still at parts, so I think sometimes the occasion can get to us. But I think we're learning how to cope with that as time goes on. And I think we were slightly as sloppy as we were today on the ball. A lot of sloppy passes, especially the diagonals and all that. I thought that was a little bit sloppy from a few players.
Yeah.
I can't fault the effort from the players from the physical point of view. I thought we were physically present in the game. I thought obviously they got it tactically right. They've got, a tactically aware manager. But we were still good enough to get away with a point or even with the win. You never know. We've not created any real clear-cut chances, but you never know. I thought it was a game of a draw. Bar that chance, I don't know, in the first half. I had to see like 5 replays to see what happened. But
I felt it was one of those games where the opposition's almost like they dragged us down to their level, if that makes sense. What they did was, I don't think their tactics were rocket science. I don't think it was anything like, overly tactical. I just think they got the basics right, which is that they said, right, you can have the ball, because we understand you're a better ball-playing team than we are. So we'll let you have the ball. You try and break us down. What we will do, we'll keep our shape. We will press you. We will try and hit you on the counter. We will try and get you on a set piece or whatever. And that's what they did. And then what they did do as well, which was frustrating from an Arsenal fan. I'm interested to hear what you got to say about this, Mams. But the constant dropping to the floor and disruptive tactics that they employed seemed to work because we never got into any kind of flow. What do you think about that?
Well, it worked because the referee was crap. Every time they had a corner, I swear at one point I was saying, these corners are pointless because one of them is going to fall down and he's going to whistle because he's one of the worst referees I've seen. He didn't impact he didn't cost us the game, but just those moments in the game. To be fair, he was doing it for us as well. Because every time one of our players were falling, some of them easily, he was giving them a foul all the time. All you had to do is fall in that game, even if there was no impact. So that's why
the Porto players were cute enough to know that they had a ref that was pernickety and was going to blow up. So what they did, they played to that. Every time there was a little 50-50 or a semblance of a tackle, semblance of contact, they go down, roll around, waste a couple minutes. Arsenal throwing up their hands in frustration. It was one of those nights. It was a very frustrating game to watch, and I'm sure it was to play in as well. But I just want to project forward slightly. Okay, we've lost today. and some might say deservedly. Do you think we have enough to get back in a couple of weeks' time? Do you think we can?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think we're. I don't even want to imagine if Oh my days. We should be going
Do you
through this
remember when we
team.
got knocked out to Monaco? It's giving me similar vibes to that.
Well, listen, we can go as recent as Sporting Lisbon.
Yeah.
I don't
So-
like to think about the Europa League anymore now that we're back. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. Of course.
I think what was so disappointing about this
No
game
excuses. No excuses to go out against this team. We are far superior to them.
as well. Yeah.
And
Well, it's interesting because you say that. We was having a discussion before the game on a watch along, and Turkish was quite bullish. He was saying, "Listen, man, we should have enough within us to get it done tonight." And I was cautioning against overconfidence. I was saying, "Listen, you got to understand that Champions League football," and I wasn't being condescending towards Turkish. It was just my observation. Champions League football tactically is very different to the Premier League. Very different. So teams
Definitely.
will study what you're good at, and they will try and nullify you. And that's what they did tonight. But listen, Mams, are there any players tonight that were worthy of redemption? Like, was there any players out there tonight that you think actually he can hold his head up high, or was it just one of those performances where pretty much everyone was below par?
I can't think of one, to be honest.
I can't either. Really.
I
I'm looking
thought-
maybe
I thought-
Gabriel, maybe Ben White, maybe I don't know.
Maybe Ben White.
Maybe Ben
I thought, I defended Raya for so long, but
Yeah,
You know-
I meant to ask you about that, bro. Yeah, because as soon as it went in, I kind of looked at my colleagues on the sofa there, and I'm like, "Rod, do you think you could have done better with that?" And the reason why I say that is because he kind of left his arm up, a trailing arm. And I'm
not
thinking,
only
well,
that, I thought he jumped too early.
That's right. Well, this is why he left the trailing arm up, because he jumped too early.
No, no, honestly, no.
Yeah,
Not
and
in
I
the
don't want
last
to blame
minutes.
him. It's one of them where I don't want to single out players, man. But I did think, bro, like it's
I
one of
thought he
them
had
where
a-
instinctively you think,
I thought up till that moment he had a good game too. Like everything that came his way, he just intercepted.
Yeah.
Not that he had too much to do, but no, I thought what he had to do, he did well. But no, you don't concede goals like that at this level.
Okay, Mams, I've got to call it there. But listen, hopefully speak to you on Saturday after.
Speak to you soon, guys.
Appreciate it, man.
Take care. Cheers. Nice. Tim's on the line. Tim,
Hello, how are you?
I'm all right, man. How you doing?
I'm
I'm
very
saying
good.
all right, but I'm a bit disappointed, to be honest, and I'm sure you are too. But anyway,
Yeah,
enough of
same.
me and Frank. What's your thoughts on tonight's game?
I thought we were dreadful. I really do. I thought we were absolutely dreadful. We were really slow in the build-up.
Yeah, I mean, it's like weird because we've been scintillating recently. We've prior to tonight, I think we've had 5 Premier League games since we come back from Dubai. We scored 21 goals, only conceded 2, 105 at Akanto. Let's be honest. Even Liverpool, we beat them quite comprehensively, and yet we come today against a team, decent team. I mean, you can't underestimate them, but let's be honest, they're not the best in Europe by a long way. We should be doing better, and we performed so poorly tonight. How do you explain that? Was it them, or was
I
it
think
us,
some
or
of it
did
was
the occasion
nerves.
get to us, or what?
Yeah, I think some of it was nerves. I think it was the inexperience of the players,
Right.
inexperience maybe of Arteta, who, by the way, I absolutely love. But I think we will turn it around at the Emirates.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. I think as bad as we played tonight, I do think I've seen enough of Porto to suggest, and I'm not being disrespectful to them, that we get them at home in front of our fans and on our ground. I think we should have more than enough to beat them. But nevertheless, it was disappointing today. I've got to ask you, because we've had a debate in the office, Porto's goal. Do you think Raya could be doing better there, or do you just think it was a great effort and we should congratulate the guy who scored rather
At
than...
first look, I thought we should be doing better. But I also think, as fans, we are very quick to pass judge on
Yeah.
the goalkeeper and obviously the professional players. We're not professional, are we? We don't know exactly what's going on in that situation. The ball is being kicked very, very hard.
Yeah.
And I think he actually done all right. I don't think he could have done a lot better. And even if we had Ramsdale in goal, I don't think he would have saved it, to be honest.
There's a lot of that being said in the comments at the moment.
Frank, have you got any
yeah,
questions?
no. I think the chat slightly disagrees from what I'm seeing here. I think a lot of people are saying that Ramsdale would have saved it. I'm just of the opinion that it was a fantastic goal. Yes, he probably could have dived. He probably dived a little bit early, but regardless, I think that ball's going in. Like you said, it's being kicked at quite.
You've got to remember, he's hit that absolutely beautiful.
And what you've got to remember is David Raya and I'm not to say that this is an excuse. I'm just trying to offer some insight as to what could have happened. David Raya didn't really have much to do within the game, so to get a shot like that out of nowhere, as a keeper myself, you do begin to panic at stuff like this because he's been near enough perfect all game, and then you get hit with this shot out of nowhere. And you've just got to, do your best to try and save it.
To be honest, I do think out of the two goalkeepers, Ramsdale is the better shot stopper.
Agreed.
But Raya is much better with his feet and a lot calmer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you think, based on what you've seen tonight, that we got enough to turn it around in a couple of weeks' time? So although
I definitely do.
I
definitely do. I mean, if we can go and beat Liverpool, get a result out of Man City, I really do believe we can beat Porto.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think if we do go out, I've got to say, I'd be very disappointed because based on what I've seen tonight and based off what I know about Porto, and obviously I don't watch them week in, week out. I know that they're third in their league. I know that they're unlikely to win their title this season. They've fallen too far behind.
Can't always
They're
look
not
at
the
these
best
things.
team. And listen, they got Pepe at the back. He's 40, going on 41 years old. Although, having said that, he was probably man of the match tonight. But even so,
I can't believe Martinelli didn't go at him more.
I know. I was saying that. We were saying before the game that Martinelli must be licking his chops thinking, listen, man, if I can isolate him, get him one-on-one, I mean, that's going to be food. But it didn't quite work out. I've got to say, though, the manager, Conceição, he got his tactics spot on. They weren't great tactics, don't get me wrong. But he did what he had to do. He nullified us, and they got the results. So, hey, it is what it is.
Out of curiosity, who do you think was our best player?
For me, it's Ben White, without a doubt. I think there's a lot of players. There's not many players that can hold their heads up high today for various reasons. But I thought that Ben White looked pretty solid down that right-hand side. Didn't particularly do anything wrong.
Ben White or Gabriel for me. I think the rest of them just didn't perform for whatever reason tonight, man. Whether it was nerves.
To be honest, I don't think. For me personally, Martinelli, I was disappointed at.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want your guys like him to step up tonight, and him and Saka and one or two others. Odegaard. But listen, bro. Thank you very much for your call. Hope you can.
That's all right.
Back.
Thank you for having me.
No worries, man. Please call back again. Hopefully, call back after we smoke Newcastle on Saturday.
I will be here. I'll be here.
Respect, man. Thank you very much.
Take care.
See you later, guys. Bye.
Enjoy the rest of your evening. We've got Az on the line. Az.
You all right, lads?
Yes, man. How are you?
I've been better, sure.
Jesus. Do you know what? I'm a bit in two minds about this one tonight, because it's like we've played the same team that we just had that battered West Ham and had the demolition derby at Burnley. And do you know what? The only person I can really fault out of that whole game is probably the referee, man.
Right. A few people have said that the referee was poor.
Do you know what? It's like you could have just blown the player and he would have fell over. So it's like,
giving
do you know what I mean?
I'm sure it was something like 37 fouls or something like that. And I haven't got this officially confirmed, but I'm sure that's one of the most fouls called in a Champions League game.
I mean, we saw what
like
he was about. I mean, he booked Declan Rice after about 2 minutes. And a lot of us were saying, okay, it was a foul, but did you really need to book him so early into the game?
Yeah.
It wasn't a malicious... I mean, listen, I don't know. But it just wasn't a very good start from the ref. And it just
Do you know what?
set the tone.
I think it was more like the execution of the passes. Trossard, I can't believe that. That was a poor performance from Trossard. That's the only thing I can really say.
Yeah. What do you think? Some people have said that the manager could have been a bit more proactive with his substitutions. What do you say to that?
Yeah, but then again, who have you got on the bench to bring on apart from that? I was the one saying, bring on Jorginho. and he came on. But then who have you got on the bench? Vieira.
I think the only argument that we've got with that is that obviously while don't get me wrong, we had a weakened bench. You've still got the likes of Eddie Nketiah, who is given a new deal, Reece Nelson, who is given. And don't get me wrong, I'm not Eddie's biggest fan, but I definitely feel like he couldn't have done any worse than what we had out on the field today. You've got Reece Nelson that's barely got any minutes this season. You had a Jorginho who thankfully came on. You had an Emile Smith-Rowe. You had a Fabio Vieira. So there are definitely options there. Admittedly, not as strong as they normally would be, but there's options there. And the thing that concerns me about this is that's pretty much our strongest team available right now. And a majority of them played 90 minutes today ahead of a big game against Newcastle where we need to bounce back. So it's, you know, I think a lot of them played quite a lot of unnecessary minutes today.
Do you know, regarding Newcastle, I just hope this don't damage like the motivation of the team from what we've been doing to like go there on Saturday, because you know what, we have to beat Newcastle. There's no two ways about it. Like there's no two ways about it. If we don't beat Newcastle, I'm not saying the tap, but it's more of it's personal with them now. Like after what happened in the last game last season, the 0-0, and it's like we have to beat them. There's no two ways about it. I'm confident against Sheffield and Brentford, but then again, I was confident about today. Do you know, but like I said, do you know what? We have played the same teams that we've just played. Like I mean, the same starting 11. So it's not like we didn't do a really poor performance. It was more of the Porto team got the tactics spot on.
Yeah,
like, they must have studied. They must have been studying our games for it.
No, they did.
They were on it from the first whistle goal. I just looked at it and thought, whoa, they're pressing so mad.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Like, what do you think that was the worst part of that performance?
I just think we were flat tonight. I think that what Porto were very successful in doing tonight was that they almost took us down to their level a little bit. They stopped. Basically, what they did is they nullified Arsenal. They frustrated us. They were looking to hit us on the counter, and they nearly successfully did it in the first half when the guy who scored the goal, he missed a double opportunity. Remember that in the first half?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could have easily been a 2-0, 3-0 maybe, but like I did hear what you say about
and
Ben White.
To be fair to them as well, they did get their tactics right, because it's not often you're going to see an Arsenal team go a whole game without a single shot on target. So I guess we have to give them credit for that. It wasn't the best watch, but they got their tactics right. Now, just projecting forward to the Newcastle game, you've said quite rightly that we have to beat them. Liverpool won again tonight. They beat Luton 4-1. So if we're going to win the title, we've got to...
They were 1-0 down at one point.
Yeah, they were. So would you make any changes for the game against Newcastle, or would you keep the same team as tonight, or what would you do?
It depends on who's available, but if it's the same options from today, I don't know. I think I'd switch Trossard and Havertz. Right. But then again, they do that switching stuff throughout the game anyway, so it don't mean no difference.
This is what I'm saying. They're supposed to. And that's what's worked so well over these last two games. But unfortunately, it just didn't seem like they were doing that today in terms of the rotation. Just
I'll be real with you as well. I've been really impressed with Kivior. So impressed with that guy, you know. He is. But today, I'm not too sure. He might have just... But do you reckon they're a bit just tired from the last few games? Because we only played the other day.
I don't know, because
but then again, they're professionals.
Yeah, exactly. They were in such good vein of form that, if anything, they should be bouncing off the walls tonight. But anyway, bro, we've got a few more calls to get through before we close the show. But thanks very much for calling, and we hopefully...
No worries, guys. Have a good evening, man.
And you, man. Take care. Thanks. Right, we've got another caller on the line. Michael's on the line.
How y'all doing?
All right, man. How are you?
Good. I mean, I'm just a little disappointed.
Where are you calling from, by the way?
Sorry?
Where are you calling from, by the way?
Oh, Virginia.
Oh, Virginia. Right. Nice
one. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. You guys came down for the All-Star game. That was pretty lit. You know, getting to see Robbie, and
nice,
it was pretty fun seeing you guys. And it was a pleasure meeting y'all. Some of y'all.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Yeah. But
right, as far as tonight's game's concerned, what was your thoughts on the game?
Just disappointed. The fluidity wasn't there. I mean, I think I got carried away. I kind of was with you. I saw the pregame show, and I kind of was with Turkish, because Turkish said we pretty much take care of them and batter them, and you were very like, I don't know about all that. This is Champions League. This is a little different.
I did say
and so you were right. Like it was a lot different. Even the refereeing was different. I think we're just getting used to the Prem refereeing. It was different. Obviously, they were calling everything. We were getting yellow cards. Rice got a yellow card a minute in. That kind of worried me because I'm like, now he's going to play a little differently.
Yeah,
so seeing how that took a effect in the game, it was definitely worrisome. And then they missed a clear chance early on in the game. So to be honest, I mean, I thought we were pretty lucky going into halftime. I was like, we're pretty lucky. So I mean, I think we should have conceded anyways earlier. And we were fortunate not to.
Yeah.
But
Well,
unfortunately at the end,
ago, I was actually shouting at the screen. I was saying, "Let's take the 0-0, take the 0-0."
Yeah.
We tried an attack. It broke down, and then they go on score. I was like, "Oh man!"
Yeah, exactly.
It just rounded off a poor night.
100%. Like the way in which they scored, those are the ones that hurt a little bit more because it's like we were 15 seconds away from just bringing it back to the Emirates and then just taking care of business at the Emirates.
Do you think we can do that in a couple of weeks' time, based on what you've seen tonight and from what you know about Porto? Do you think we've got what it takes to beat them?
I'm hoping. I mean, obviously, as an Arsenal fan, I'm hoping we can. It was just a little worrisome because I was reading somewhere where it said this is the first time in 2 years under Mikel Arteta that we have not had a shot on target. So just seeing how well they defended, it's going to be very nerve-wracking. If we don't get a goal, I think in the first half, it's going to be very nervous for myself. But I mean, obviously, we all understand how many injuries we have. We still have Thomas Partey out. We still have Zinni out, who gives us offensive threat when he comes into the side, and we still have Gabriel Jesus out. So I'm curious to see if we're going to have any of these three guys, or if all three, how we can respond. By the time March 12 rolls around, we could have a whole complete different squad.
You make an excellent point, because those guys that you mentioned, I understand that they're all back in training. So I would find it very surprising if they're not in the matchday squad come March the 12th, which is still just over 2 weeks away. So, yeah, you make a good point there. Frank, is there anything you want to pick up on?
Yeah, so obviously, I just want to know generally how confident you are going into that second leg. You know, you look at it, and me and James were speaking off camera after the fan cams, and the way that we were looking at it is we're 1-0 down at half time in the tie. That's the way we were looking at it, and that's why I don't feel so too down about the result that we've seen today, because I'm that confident that we will still get this done in the second leg. So I just want to know how you're feeling in terms of looking forward towards that second leg. Do you think we can still get it done? Have we made it a little bit harder for ourselves in obviously losing today? What's your thoughts?
We did make it a little harder for ourselves, but then again, the away goal doesn't count as two like before. So I think that also helps the situation a little bit more. And I'm just, I don't know. I think like other callers were saying, I think the nerves, the atmosphere, the nerves, maybe it got to the players. Obviously, we all understand how young our squad is. You know, that's where experience comes to play. You know, besides the Chelsea guys, we didn't really have much experience that has played in the Champions League before. I do think we can take care of business. I think we can get 2 goals at the Emirates. I hope to God we don't go to a penalty shootout. It just we all know how that could go. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, if we can get those 2 goals, I think we can. I think we just have to be a little bit more aggressive. But you already know, teams like Porto, they'll park the bus. They have this 1-0 comfortable lead, and they're gonna find a way. They have the experience. Obviously, we know Pepe is old, but he didn't show that today.
Yeah,
I mean, he was shutting it down. So we got to be ready to play, and I hope we are. And I don't know. Do you guys think that maybe now we have to decide whether we go for the Champions League or do we go for the league, like kind of how last year?
I think we've got to try and go for both, to be honest. I know that's a big ask, but listen, bro. We do have a few more calls we've got to get through.
No,
so
respect.
Listen, bro. Thank you very much. Big up all the man in Virginia, and listen. You must call back soon. Enjoyed the call.
Appreciate you guys. Take care.
Nice one, man. Thank you very much. Yeah, he makes some good points there.
He does.
And I do agree with him that the Champions League football is different to Premier League football insofar as you're going to get teams that do this.
Yeah, you've got there's
an education for us.
There's a different way of setting out for a Champions League, a two-legged Champions League tie than there is your standard Premier League game, and I think Arteta hasn't really sussed that yet quite clearly. I've not even just in the Champions League.
I'm going to say this, and listen, some people might think that I'm being a little bit negative. And it's not wholesale scathing criticism of him. But I was a little bit surprised that we didn't make substitutions earlier.
Yeah.
I was a bit surprised that when he took Trossard off, you never went for, say, an Eddie or something like that. You know what I mean? You're like, Havertz wasn't really playing that well, and yet you pushed him further up top.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would have liked to have seen something a little bit different. I'd have liked to have seen changes made earlier. Porto made more changes in the game than us, and they won the game.
Of course, absolutely. And I think, it's a case of, I think Mikel Arteta himself, and I've not seen if he said anything after the game. I think Mikel Arteta himself knows that he got it wrong.
Yeah, he will have to take some responsibility.
And it's nothing.
And sorry to interrupt.
Go for it. Yeah.
I say that you know, because you did the show with me. I say it. I was very effusive, full of praise for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
After the last few games,
Yeah.
so it's only right that I'd be honest and say tonight I think that the substitutions should have been made earlier, and we should have seen a bit more variety. Like I said, if you're taking off Trossard, bring on another striker rather than just push Havertz further up top.
Completely.
But anyway,
agree.
I think we've got another caller on, haven't we? Or have we? Yes, we have Dini. Dini!
How's it going?
Well, go on, Bridge.
What's going on, Laurie? How are we feeling? We're all right. We're not too bad.
Yeah, listen, man, it's a disappointing night, but it's not like it's the end of the world.
Reality check.
Yeah,
that's the way I'm looking at this.
Yeah, it wasn't a good day at the office, as they say. But what was your thoughts on the match?
Do you know what? This is one of the ones where I'm actually kind of calm about it, because it's a loss we can actually rectify. It's not like a loss in the. If we lose against Newcastle on Saturday, that will be a much more damaging loss than this one. I think. Do you know what I mean? This is one of the ones where I'm like, we've seen first legs before, whether it's the quarterfinals or the last 16, whether it's either Monaco or AC Milan, where we've lost like 3-4-0. And even though the return leg at the Emirates, we still could have almost still done the job and gone through. We gave ourselves too much to do. And I feel like with this one, it was annoying. Like up until like the last, 45 seconds, we was looking at a 0-0. It wasn't looking too bad. And effectively, they should have won the game, technically 1-0 anyway. And even with that, I'm still expecting us to win at the Emirates. I'm still expecting us to go through. So it's annoying.
Were you like us, a little bit disappointed insofar as we came into this game on the back of 5 very good results. So we should be at the top of our confidence. So to go into the game tonight, Champions League game, where we're asked slightly different questions, I was a little bit disappointed that we were seemingly unable to make that bridge. You know what I mean? So in other words, what I'm saying is, we're washing teams in the Premier League. Today we was presented with a slightly different challenge. And unfortunately, we never looked, even from the start, looked up to that challenge for me. And that was what was disappointing from my perspective. The fact that we just weren't on it from the start.
And that's the thing. And that's kind of the history of Arsenal sometimes in knockout stages of competitions. Sometimes we do have performances. In Europe, especially. It's especially in Europe where we've struggled to do it. But I still expect us to turn it around. Because I'm expecting to see
some growth in that area. You know what I mean? Like we've spoken on shows like this. Me and you have spoken about these last season when we went out in the Europa League. We went out to Sporting, and we're like, yo, no disrespect, man, but Arsenal should not be going out to Sporting when you look at the two teams and the respective talents. And even tonight, we should not really be losing to Porto like this, man. You know what I mean? We should have at least got a draw. Frank, what's your thoughts?
No, I completely agree. And like I don't want to say expected a win, but I expected some form.
I didn't think it would be like
that's exactly what I meant. I never expected it to be easy. You know, I would have been more than happy with a 1-0 to the Arsenal, and even obviously considering
I would have taken a draw.
I would have taken a draw. Not at the start of the game. I wouldn't have said a 0-0 here is great. But obviously, given how we played, going into that second half, I think I said it in the half-time show, a 0-0. Given how we've played, would have been a fine result. Yeah. But just, do you know what? It's not the fact that we've lost today. It's the manner in which we've lost today that's upset me in a way. But we can still hold our heads up. We're not out of the tie. It's definitely in our favour still.
I just want to cut in and ask you a quick question because I know time's running. I do want to get your opinion on this. You're a man, you know your football. That goal. What's his name? The guy who scored it?
Galeno.
Do you think Raya should be doing better there, or could have done better? or are we being a bit harsh to suggest that he could be doing better there?
I'm going to start a goalkeeper union just to defend him.
Now, listen, when I say that, I'm not, please, people in the comments and people watching, I'm not trying to dig him out. The reason why I'm asking Dean is because quite a lot of people are debating it. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts on the matter. What's your thoughts?
Do you know what?
Honest
I'm going to be
opinion.
on. This is my honest opinion. I haven't looked back at it since it went in. As soon as that ball sunk in the bottom corner, I just put my head in my hands because my first thought, it was just an amazing goal.
Yeah.
My first thought, that was an amazing goal. So I haven't actually looked back since that goal went in because like, how are you going to lose it at the end like that? We were so close to just taking it back. It was literally so close to taking the 0-0 back, and that would have been fine regarding how sloppy our party's performance was and this, that, and the other. But for me, it's just a sick goal from what I've seen already. I'll look back and we might talk about it during the week and this, that, and the other. But from what I saw, it's just...
When you get time, have a look, and then maybe on the next show, or you can message us, let us know.
I will come back with a proper opinion on it.
Yeah.
I will.
Really coming for Raya today, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
Do you know what? Tell you what we're gonna. No. I need to defend him. What we're gonna do is
when we lose, I'm very conscious that people are gonna isolate little clips like this and say,
tell you what,
I'm blaming it on Raya.
What we're going to do next time is when Eddie misses a sitter, right? When Eddie Nketiah misses a sitter, I'm going to come on here and I'm going to ask the question, should Eddie have done better?
I'm going to talk the business. I'm going to talk the business. Eddie should have come on tonight, bro. Eddie should have come. Havertz was quiet all night. And then when we took Trossard off, my natural presumption was, okay, he's going to bring on a striker who, listen, I rate Trossard highly, but it wasn't one of his best games. Things happen.
Like,
but if you're going to take Trossard off, rather than push Havertz further up the pitch, why not bring a striker on? You know what I mean? That can, Eddie... Listen, I'm not saying Eddie comes on, we win the game, but I'm
glad you're not saying that. Yeah, I'm glad you're not saying
that. That's one thing I might say, because even though people like Eddie and Cedric and this, that, and the other, even though they're not going to play major roles for the rest of the season, they can put in a 20-minute shift here and there. They can just inject something in this, that, and the other. But
it couldn't have been any worse.
I didn't give Eddie a new contract, the manager did. So if you gave him a new contract and $100,000 a week, then it would be remiss of you not to play him if your strikers are misfiring, which way were tonight. But anyway, Dini, very quickly, Newcastle coming up.
Yeah.
What you've seen tonight, does that change your opinion on what's going to happen? Are you still confident? Can we still go on and win the league very quickly? What's your views?
I believe we still win at Newcastle on Saturday. We can brush this off and we can forget about it. We can forget about the Champions League until March now. It's still 5 wins in a row in the Premier League.
And do you think we can go through? Do you think we'll beat Porto at the Emirates?
Oh yeah. I do believe we'll go through, because the last time we spoke about Champions League predictions, I said we got the quarterfinal. If anything, if we do go out, it'll be at the quarterfinal. So if we go out now, it'll be very, very disappointing, to say the least.
Agreed.
Yeah.
In fact, I agree with pretty much everything you said there, bro. But listen, thanks very much, and hopefully speak to you again on Saturday.
Cheers,
after hopefully we smoke Newcastle. But yeah, take care.
Of course.
Until then.
The Frank, Laurie, love always, and take care. Yeah.
Respect.
Love everyone. Take care.
Nice one. Take care. Yeah. Next caller.
Hey guys.
There he is, Zach. Can he?
Can Zach hear us?
Yeah.
He can hear us. He's frozen.
Yeah,
That's a great freeze
I
frame
can
as
hear
well.
you. I don't know why the screen's not working.
Okay, well, we'll press ahead. Oh, no, he's gone. He's dropped out. We'll try and get him back on, because he's always got some very interesting things to say. But yeah, man, listen, don't do me like that, man. I'm not trying to...
I'm just trying to get you.
I'm just curious, because when the goal went in, to a man, we were all, should he have done better?
Yeah.
There was talk about the flailing arm. Did that mean that he dived too early? And all that stuff. So listen, man.
What you got to remember as well is he's a smaller keeper. So that could be something that factors into.
He's got the biggest hands in the Premier League, bro.
All keepers, well, apart from me, all keepers have big hands. It's not hard to have big hands as a keeper.
Yeah, but I mean, we got him back now. We got him back. Yes.
Okay,
bro.
hey, how's it going?
Yeah, we'll get straight into it, bro. Your thoughts on tonight's disappointing performance?
Yeah, I think tonight was definitely a learning experience for Mikel, because it was really disappointing to see only Jorginho be substituted. I think
that's what I'm saying, man.
Martinelli wasn't the guy who was unlocking the defense, and Reece Nelson would have been somebody to at least just give another shot. And I think it was the mentality of the second leg or the mentality of having two legs that the team kind of forgot at the 92nd minute, and that's really tough because that pass from Martinelli just had a little bit too much weight on it, and it just allowed the counterattack, and we got punished for it.
I don't know if you saw our watch along, but I was screaming at the TV. I was saying, keep the 0-0, keep the 0-0. And then they go and give the ball away, the attack breaks down, and then, well, you saw
Yep, exactly. Like, we could have lived to fight another day and avoided all of, the headache and drama that we are currently dealing with if we had just kept our heads down and finished playing the game to the last whistle. And it's frustrating that we didn't, we're not walking away with the draw, which we...
I'll tell you what was so disappointing for me tonight, right, is that, and I do mean this sincerely, and it's not like a knock on the players or the manager, but nevertheless, it does leave me with a feeling of disappointment. So, as everyone knows, we're coming off the back of 5 straight wins. We've been really good, outclassed all of our previous opponents. Today, we were presented with a new challenge, Champions League last 16, away from home against a decent but not great side. I'm expecting Arsenal to go there tonight and at least get a result. And what happens is we go, I wouldn't say we were outclassed, but we just didn't get going. Like I said before earlier in the show, it's not often you see an Arsenal team play 90 minutes plus and not even get a single shot on target. And for me, that's very disappointing. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's definitely disappointing. And I think it was the nerves that got to us, that we weren't able to finish. Just came out flat. And I think we didn't do the things tactically correct to really make a change. Ben White was so wide open in the first half, and I was hoping they would push the ball down the right more, but it just wasn't happening. Declan Rice got a yellow card early, and that changed how he had to play. And honestly, he was lucky he wasn't sent off at the 60th minute, because he had another rough tackle, and we would have been even worse for wear if we had to play with 10 people. So we got lucky with a couple things today. We could definitely be worse than 1-0 or down 1-0.
No, I agree. Because they should have scored in the first half. How that guy missed it. He missed a double, 2 chances in one, really. But hey, it is what it is. Do you think, based on what you've seen tonight and what you know about Porto and what you know about us, obviously, do you think we got it within us to turn it around at the Emirates in a few weeks' time, March the 12th to be exact?
I think so, but that really is hinging on our injuries coming back. I think having people like Tomiyasu and Partey would have been excellent tonight, because I don't think Mikel trusts a lot of the people on the bench, which is confusing because you give out contracts to these people. If you're not if you don't trust them to play in high leverage times like this, then when are you going to play them?
Agreed. 100%.
Is Emil going to play against Newcastle? Is Reece going to start against Newcastle?
Nope.
Yeah, exactly.
Nope.
I would like to know, but it's tough, because with the 11 that we have, it's hard to break through.
My producer's telling me to mention Eddie, so I won't.
But listen, I think we needed.
Couldn't have done much worse. Couldn't have done much worse, because our front players today were just missing.
I'm sure he would have tried.
But listen, bro, we do have a few more calls. We're trying to get as many calls in before we go. Thanks very much for your call. And
of course,
please call back again soon. But you do make some very good
thanks for having me, guys. As always.
Take care.
Nice one. Elliot's on the line. This will be interesting.
Here we go.
Booted and ready to go. He's got that look on his face. He's not happy.
Laurie, the Frank. How are you?
I've been better, mate. That's for sure.
There's been better days. There's been better days in this studio, like last week, for example. But hey, it is what it is. It's sport at the top level. You're not always going to get it. You're going your own way. It certainly didn't happen like that tonight. What was your thoughts on the game?
Ladies and gentlemen, we got to give Porto credit. They fought clever tonight, and they gave us a remedial class in European football. Okay.
You know what? Excellent point. You are right.
All right. When you know you don't have the talent of another side, what do? You roll over yourselves on foul. you stop play, you stop flow. You try to keep things at the back. You try to possess when necessary. You don't allow your team into certain zones, and if they do, you overload those zones. You don't let balls cross into the box, and quite simply, we didn't have a shot on goal.
Yep, that is.
So what does that tell you?
That tells me.
Tells you that Arteta got schooled tonight. Quite simple. Another lesson to be learned. He did.
Yeah, you know what? I said I did a fan cam. Everybody on here watching now, please go and watch that if you like. But I said we got mugged off, and we did. I think that the manager, it wasn't, listen, when I say he got tactically outdone, I'm not saying that it was a tactical masterclass. Because it was just basic things that you do, like you said.
No, it was a needs-must performance, sorry. You know it, and I know it's a needs-must performance.
Yeah, he nullified us, and then they nicked the goal, and that was it. And even the goal, that was naive of us to be pushing forward at a minute, or it wasn't even a minute left, was it? A minute and a half?
It was the last kick, literally one of the last kicks of the game.
I was screaming.
You know what that was? I'll tell you who that reminds me of. That was vintage Mourinho.
Yeah. I'm so glad you said this. I'm so glad you said this because I was thinking this in my head. I was thinking
that was vintage Mourinho.
And it's all
Mourinho when he knew that he didn't have the players on his side to literally blitz you out. He said, "You know what? I'm going to be tactical about this."
And the irony of it being a Porto squad.
And it's a Porto squad. It was Mourinho 101. We just went to Mourinho class.
Yeah, and that's what they did when they won the Champions League back in 2000.
Thank you.
With Jose Mourinho in charge. Those are what they did. That's how Greece won the world, not the world, the Euros.
Euro 2004.
Yeah.
The Euros.
Doing the same thing.
That was exactly. They didn't have the players, so guess what they did? Tactically foul. Make sure that their zones were covered. They had Pepe at the back who was guiding them in terms of defense, in terms of play, that was their on-field coach. He didn't have to do much tonight. He didn't have to do anything tonight. You know what this night needed right now? A Gabriel Jesus. This night needed exactly that. He was a guy who was going to draw men out, control play, and distribute. You never saw Havertz for love nor money tonight.
No, he was...
He was non-existent. Let's call it spade a spade.
Let's be honest. It wasn't just him. I thought Trossard should have got dragged earlier, to be honest. Trossard was poor.
Saka needs to be mentioned.
Yeah, Trossard as well. He did not have the greatest of performances. But listen, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Declan Rice, ladies and gentlemen, didn't do himself any favors tonight. He didn't. That was one of his worst performances of the year. Let's face back. That ball that given away for that goal, that was Declan Rice who gave that ball. Yeah, call me. It was.
No.
Did he close down on that goal? No. He let the man shoot. Why is not everybody calling out Declan Rice on this performance? Why is anybody not calling out Declan Rice?
The manager should take some responsibility because when he got booked, I think it was in the first or second minute, noticeably his game was affected, and so he wasn't quite the same player. So maybe the manager should have said, you know what? We'll take him off, bring Jorginho on, and try and cover it that way. But he didn't. And I've got to say,
he was on tenterhooks all night. He was not himself. He was not himself. He wasn't. So let's call it a spade, guys. Yeah.
Just quickly, because we've got a couple of other calls we want to try and get through before the end of the show. My first question is a supplementary to what we've been talking about. Can we get it done in the return leg, and can we bounce back against Newcastle on Saturday?
I'll tell you one thing, we'll need our players back. All those injured players who were out, we need them next match. Big time. If you have to rep them in Cottonwell for the next couple of weeks, do so. Because they need to be in that next match. Right. Starting with Jesus. Oh my God. This game was crying for Jesus tonight.
I do think you're right.
Absolutely crying.
Yeah, I do think you're right about it. And Newcastle.
Absolutely crying.
Newcastle, the late
Saturday game. Is hey, listen, it's another. I hope we can get some players back who can come back. It would be a baptism by fire to get Partey involved, but I don't think he's going to be involved then. I hope we get some injured players back. I hope we get a Tommy Astu so we can rotate in for Kiwior, because Kiwior was given a torrid time on that left back role. He was given a torrid time. It wasn't one of his better performances, to be fair. You can see he was left wanting on a few
None
of those.
None of them really performed tonight. None of them really performed. Just very quickly, very quickly, the goal that they scored. Do you think Raya should be doing better there or not?
I'm sorry, Declan Rice should be closing down. If there's anybody to be blamed, it's Declan. That ball should have never gone in. Should have never been shot, period.
It's a good point.
It's a good point. Yeah. No one else has mentioned that. It's a fair play to you. But listen, bro.
Close down.
We've got a couple more calls, but listen, bro. Excellent call. And yeah, I hear you. Speak again, sir.
Yeah, calling you from downtown Toronto, guys. So again, that's the reason why these confines are a bit different. But again, I had to stay here. I'm working late, but I had to be here. It was only to be on the show.
No, we appreciate it.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Burn the midnight oil for you guys. You see what I do for you? You see what I do for you? I tell you.
We appreciate it, bro. Nice one. Take care.
Cheers, man.
Cheers. He did make some good points.
He did. Do you know what? That's a very good point about Declan Rice as well.
And I'm going to watch that back to see if it was him.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm not going to second guess.
The keeper union is out in full voice. It's Rice's fault, not Raya's. There we go.
It's someone's fault. Do it that way. Right, last caller of the day. We got Ron. He's got the old school.
Ron. Hi guys.
Top one, what I call the Charlie George top.
Yeah, exactly.
Could have done with Charlie George tonight, mate. But,
yeah.
Right, so what's your thoughts on tonight's show?
You can blame Declan Rice all you like, you can blame Raya, but when that ball was passed out from Martinelli, there were two of their players who were unmarked in space, to encourage them to come on and then score the goal. Yeah. We just we weren't there. We weren't at the races today, were we?
No, I agree. We weren't. It was it was one of them games that I'm watching it, I'm thinking any minute now it's going to kick into gear. It's sluggish, but we will get going. Because all of us come into this game tonight with such optimism. We're coming off the back of 5 back-to-back wins, scoring goals for fun. You're thinking, no disrespect to Porto. I mean, I was respectful of them, whereas some of the other guys on the panel wasn't. But I'm thinking even if we don't win today, at the very least we'll get a draw. I actually predicted a hard-fought 2-1 win, but I never saw this tonight, I must admit. We were poor. Yeah. What do you put that down to then? What went wrong?
I think we were just so predictable. We just didn't have anything that was that they needed to fight against. I mean, the last couple of games where we got the 5 and the 6 and the 5, they didn't see what we were doing. We were doing it, and they just couldn't live with it.
Yeah.
You could say that, yes, they were bad teams. They weren't bad teams. We just demoralised them.
And you know what was synonymous with those victories is that we got early goals.
Yeah.
Once you get early goals, that can tend to relax you a little bit. You find it easier to pick up your flow. Today, we just didn't get going at all.
It's true.
Yeah, it's so disappointing.
Do you think
we've been here before, and I even had that sneaking feeling that we won't do it when we get back at the Emirates.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I just don't. I hope that we do.
Yeah.
We've done this before at this stage in the competition.
Well,
they've pinched the goal. They've got that goal enables them to come back and park the bus.
Yep, and they will do.
they will. That's what they'll do.
Yeah.
Now, what we need at the Emirates, we need an early goal.
Exactly.
We really need an early goal to make them come out.
Yep, absolutely. Mind you, even if we get an early goal, I don't think they will come out because as long as so their tactics won't change at 1-1.
Yeah, they'll play.
We have to score 2 or 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's definitely going to be a hard night.
Yeah.
Well,
did you see the Usherman goal?
No, I didn't. I know that he scored.
That's a poacher's goal.
Okay, so
we need one of those tonight. That's for sure.
We need someone like that.
Yeah. Right. So you're not overly optimistic for the Champions League, which is fair enough based on what you've seen tonight. What about the game against Newcastle on Saturday?
I think we should do it. We've got enough going there.
Yeah, we're at home on Saturday.
They've got a weakened side, and there's history there. We need to get it. We need to get that game back.
Definitely, and I'm sure there'll be a backlash from tonight's performance as well. I'm sure the manager will say, listen, man, you guys underperformed in the midweek. At the weekend, you've got to get it right in front of your own fans. So I'm pretty sure it'll be a very different game. Not that I'm underestimating Newcastle, but I'm just saying that I think it'll be a different type of game, and I am confident. But listen, bro.
And Premiership games are completely different. The Champions League, the Champions League is something. And remember, Man City took a long time to get going in the Champions League. They could not get it right.
Very good point. Very good point. Yeah, I said that. I said that. I'm not trying to be wise after the event, but I did say that at the top of the show when we did the watch along. I said the difference between Premier League and Champions League football is far more tactically nuanced, and the teams operate a different type of ways, different types of games. So, yes,
and the referees are different.
Well, it's funny because we talk about the referees, and we're always saying week in, week out that our refs are the worst and they're better on the continent. But having seen that guy tonight, man.
He was bad. He was no control. I mean, what do? You push Ben White over in the area. To me, that's a penalty. But no, you can push anyone over, and if we're doing the pushing, then it's a free kick to them. If they do the pushing, then you just forget it.
He had a very, what shall I say, indifferent game, and that's being kind. And after he booked Declan Rice, after about a minute or two into the game, I was saying to myself, oh, hang on, this guy, man, not to be trusted. But anyway, listen, thanks very much. You made
all right, fingers crossed that I'm wrong, that we can get back and keep going in the Champions League.
And hopefully you'll call back, because
I will, yeah.
Is this your first time?
No, it's the third time.
Okay, it's the first time we've met. But listen, appreciate your thoughts.
It's good talking to you. Have a good evening.
And you, man. Thank you very much. Take
care. Bye.
Cheers. Well, there you have it, Frank. You've heard what the people have had to say. They've had some good calls there. Some good points have been made. And all of the callers have expressed their overriding disappointment. The last caller there was interesting, though. He's not optimistic that we can turn it around. He was the only one that said that, but he spoke from the heart. Yeah. And he basically thinks that Porto will pull off a similar thing at the Emirates and will probably do enough to get through.
Well, look, I can sort of understand what the thought process is there, because it's something that we've seen in the past, and I keep coming back to this Monaco game in the Champions League in the knockouts of one of the last times we qualified for the tournament. If I'm right, I'm sure they beat us in the first leg, and then obviously I think we came back with the equaliser in the second leg, and they just completely sat back and just saw out the rest of the fixture, and obviously they went through to the quarterfinals as a result of that. So, he's speaking from a place of experience. We've seen this happen in the past, and I can understand it. However, I just personally don't share that view. I think I've seen enough from this Arsenal team this season to know or just believe that we've got enough strength to pull it back in the second leg. The way I'm looking at this is it's a two-legged tie. This is the halfway point. We just need to come out in that second half, all guns blazing. The early goal is crucial. And there's never been a more important time to get an early goal.
But like the caller said, he goes, scoring one's not going to be enough.
No, absolutely, yeah.
But, you know what I mean?
But listen,
if we score one, their tactics are not going to change.
No, absolutely. But
their tactics only change when we get 2 or 3.
But it just comes back to absolutely. It just comes back to us, not helping ourselves in this game, and then helping ourselves in that game in the second leg. If we get that early goal, it puts us back in prime position to go through in a way, and then once we've got that early goal, maybe that will open the floodgates for another second or third goal, and then we're through to the quarterfinals. And that's been such a burden over the last few years.
Obviously, we've gone out at this stage so many times.
This is what I'm saying. So the last time that we went through the round of 16 in the Champions League, we played Porto. We lost the first leg. And then we obliterated them in the second leg. So I'm hoping so. And if Nicholas Bentner can score a hat trick, I'm sure we can get a Trossard or a Martinelli or Saka hat trick in the second leg here.
or even Eddie.
Definitely not.
But anyway, guys, thanks, Frank. Thanks to all the people who called in tonight. Thanks to all the people who submitted their comments. Thanks for everybody watching. Keep it locked and loaded on AFTV. As I like to say, your one-stop shop for all Arsenal content. Don't forget, Saturday's game, we will be doing a live watch-along, and we will be doing a full-time show after, so want to hear your thoughts and opinions. Wasn't our night tonight, but as football is, the next game is never too far away. We go again on Saturday, and hopefully see you guys then. We're out. Take care. Have a good night.